this is going up on. It's another. It's another Wednesday, which means I'm having another conversation. This time, I'm here with another person or group of people who make custom dice. I believe your company's name is Dice Hog. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Welcome, heroes and villains, to Fjooken Enterprises YouTube channel. Take a moment, relax, stop your bickering, and just enjoy the show.
How'd you come up with that name?
I have some pet potbelly pigs that I love very much, and I wanted my company's name to have something to do with them. So my husband, my brother, and I, we all spent a lot of time just mixing different words for pig or hog and with dice or other, nerdy terms. And I landed on Dice Hog, and it was it. Because, who doesn't want to hog some dice?
Fair enough. How do people get in touch with you to get custom sets of dice made?
They can contact me through, my website has my email address and everything on it. Or my Instagram or Facebook have my emails or ways to contact me.
With the fact that you can get dice of various sizes, like 5 centimeter 6-sided dice, and even 20 side that's an inch and a half big, what size of dice can you make?
The ones I typically make I call them my oversized dice. They're 34 millimeters, which is, I think it's like a inch and 30 something. I don't remember the exact number. I always measure them in millimeters. That's the usual size I make for the most part because I like the big clunkier dice. I was for a while making standard sets, which are I think 19 millimeter-ish. But I need to make a new mold for those because eventually your molds wear out. And then I also have a mold for a spin-down D20 that is a 65 millimeter, so it's a big one, like baseball-ish size. But potentially I can make any sizes. I would just have to remake the master dice and then make new molds.
Since you can make spin-down D20s, you play Magic the Gathering?
I do not. My brother owns a game shop in Red Wing, Minnesota, and he requested that I make spin downs to sell in his shop because he's got a lot of Magic people go there. I've never had the opportunity to play Magic.
I feel that because you make your dice with molds, you make them out of resin, but I know they can be also made out of plastic or metal. So are they made out of resin, or what materials are they made out of?
Yeah, I use 2-part epoxy resin to make mine, and then I add a bunch of additives or whatever to make them have that special pizzazz. But yes, since I make my own molds out of a silicone rubber that I order, and then use that to pour the 2-part epoxy resin into.
How do you go about removing the excess burr on the dice, or are you like Game Science and leave that to the customers?
No, I do that because that's a lot of work, and unless you have, the specific things or the patience for it, it's quite a challenge sometimes. So you don't accidentally oversand a edge of a dice and make something wonky. I try to make my molds, my masters and my molds, as perfect as I possibly can. So there's not too much spillover or flashing where the burrs would be. And then sometimes I use an X-Acto knife and various polishing papers. And I actually use some car polish to get them nice and back to being shiny.
But why did you decide to get into the business of making dice?
Well, my husband and I always play games and everything, Dungeons and Dragons, and then I'm a big board game junkie, so there's always dice and everything. And he had ordered some handmade dice from a Kickstarter online, and I have an art degree, and all my life with my dad and my mom, I've gotten into every hobby I could get my fingers into involving making stuff and doing hands-on and learning new things. And he got these dice from a Kickstarter, and I was just looking at them and analyzing them, and I'm like, I feel like I know exactly how they made these. And then I just kind of got some cheap materials and tried it out, and I don't know, it was just, I fell in love with it.
So, there are various games like Dungeon Call Classic that have D3s, well, I'm going to use Dungeon Call Classic. I know there's other games that have weird dice, but Dungeon Call Classic has a D3, D7, D16. I think it also has a D24. Are you able to make those types of dice?
I mean, if there was enough demand or someone was willing to help counteract the cost of making new molds and everything, I certainly would be able to. I have 3D printers, and I 3D print the masters, and then I polish them down and get all the burrs off and make them perfect, and then I would use the silicone rubber and make a new mold of them. So it's definitely something I can do.
By the sounds of it, you've probably made yourself several sets of custom dice. Would that be accurate?
Yes, that would be. Everyone in my family has dice.
What are your personal dice like?
Mine are, my bestest dog in the world had passed away, and to make myself feel better, I made a set of dice modeled off of him. And because he was black and white, and he had one blue eye, so my dice are like a nice black with a pearlescent white, and it has like a nice icy blue swirled into it. And his collar was orange, so it has orange numbers on it. And they're my favorite dice, and they treat me the best. They're my Dan dice.
How do you avoid air pockets forming in your dice when you make them?
So I got a pressurized like tank that people use to like spray paint houses and stuff with, and I converted it into a tank that holds the pressure rather than forcing paint out. It would keep all the air inside of it. So I converted it, and what I do is after I fill my molds, I let the air rise as long as I can before stuff starts to thicken, and then I put them in the pressure pot, and when you apply pressure, it shrinks the air as much as it can, and then it hardens that way.
Sounds like you've put a lot of care and thought into making your dice as perfect as possible.
I do my best. Some are more challenging than others. Like certain additives can create more challenging hurdles to jump over when polishing or getting the air bubbles out.
The newest Star Wars games uses dice with symbols rather than numbers. There are also people out there that play Magic the Gathering and would like skulls on the one instead of the one. Are you able to accommodate those wishes?
I am in the process of figuring out a way to do that. Like, I have a lot of ideas, and I just need to do some testing. Like, certainly I can make new molds and stuff, but I have a few ideas. Like, I want to see if I could have blanks and maybe make a sandblaster and sandblast whatever design or something someone wanted on it. You know, stuff like that. You know, I have a few different ideas that I need to test out because I would really like to make personalized dice like that. Recently, I made some dice where the numbers were all the same, but someone wanted a symbol in the middle of it. So I made like a spacey background, and I cut the symbol out on a Cricut with vinyl sticker, and I stuck that to the spacey background and then poured clear over top. So their symbol was still like hardened inside the middle of the dice, but it wasn't like on the numbers per se. It was like an additive in the inside. But I plan on in the future trying to make it so that I could personalize like the 1s and the 20s.
Speaking of additives, do you typically, are you able to add additives like leaves and stuff like that?
Yeah, I've been playing around. I've been playing around with adding bugs that I've ordered offline into it, and we've put some herbs and stuff in some things. But with those kind of things, you have to do a lot of testing because some things sink and some things float. And you'd be surprised that you'd think something would sink and it doesn't, you know. So you have to do a little bit of testing with the ingredients before you cast your final product. But yeah, as long as the items can be completely dried out because water and resin don't really mix, they can work. I put dried goat poop in one once, you know, because someone wanted a joke. So I'm willing to try to do a lot of different things because I love to learn things and I love to experiment.
My viewers are either Canadian or American, but I know I have viewers that are from other continents as well, who I know some of them would be interested in getting custom set of dice. So I guess my penultimate question is, how much do you charge for your dice?
So for custom sets, I start them out around $100. And how it works is they'll tell me what they want, and I'll like come up with a few ideas and see what kind of, you know, toss ideas back and forth with them. I'll make an example, and they'll tell me, you know, like with you, if it was close to what you wanted or not so close, and then we adjust. And I'll do it a couple times, or you know, if I feel like I'm getting closer to what they want, I'll keep going. And you know, additives and stuff might cost a little extra just depending on what it is and how much more extra time it takes to do it. But it's not like a one try and done. I'll keep trying stuff and to make my customer happy.
I'm guessing because you're American, that's $100 American, not $100 Canadian, correct?
Yes, I'm sorry.
My final question is always the same in all my interviews. I give the people I'm having conversations with a chance to stand on a soapbox and shout out anything or anyone they would like. So this is your time to do that.
I will say that we have a few friends. Like we are friends with Homie and the Dudes. They have something on Kickstarter right now called the Sky Zephyrs, where they're making space, water, and airship combat for Dungeons & Dragons 5e. And it's really awesome with beautiful artwork. If anybody's interested in that, they can always find their links on, you know, Dice Hog, my Instagram, or Facebook, or anything. Or just look up Homie and the Dudes Sky Zephyr on Kickstarter. My husband and I have been working on creating our own digital content for download that we're working on playtesting, and we've been having Kaz the DM do a lot of artwork for us. He's great too. And of course, my husband and my mom and the family are great. They help me do everything and are always on board with my new endeavors and things I want to learn and try out.
Thank you for your time. I know I'm personally going to give a lot of thought to if I want to order another set of dice for you for myself, actually, instead of a gift. But I highly recommend everyone go check out Dice Hog. The links to her stuff and the stuff she shouts out will be in the description. And thank you for letting me have this conversation.
Can I add on one more thing? right now my website doesn't have shipping for outside of the U.S. just because it's like can be crazy. But if someone really wants something, and is willing to pay the shipping, they're more than welcome to contact me to get special orders and stuff, and we can figure out the shipping, like on a side note off of the website. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just occurred to me that my website doesn't have outside of the U.S. shipping.
Thank you for that information. Thank you for talking with me.